Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Draining Jimmy's podcast. Hope everyone has been enjoying their week. Lots to cover on today's episode, but the first to start off, my YouTube channel has officially launched. Draining Jimmy's Sports Podcast is available on YouTube, and don't forget to follow on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. DrainingJimmy's.podcast for TikTok, and on Instagram, and Draining Jimmy's for Twitter. So this podcast will be going live as a recording on YouTube on the channel as well. So excited to have that finally released. And I have been producing TikTok, just got that over a week and a bit. So I've had a few videos and photos posted, including my excursion, my little trip that I had as well. But excited to get things going and moving for the podcast. But again, lots to cover on today's episode of the podcast. It's been an exciting few days, to say the least. I did release a little segment earlier today discussing what happened with the LSU-Iowa game and regarding Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. So make sure to check that out on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well, TikTok, and on Instagram. So make sure you subscribe, follow to any of those platforms as well. But definitely been exciting. NBA playoffs are getting closer and closer to being set. Raptors clinched and play-in. Milwaukee just clinched number one seed in the East. Raptors did fall to the Celtics today. Raptors are in that rush to try and get that 8th seed. But unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's going out. They still have the Celtics one more time, and then they're facing the Bucks. So they're going to be in a bit of a situation coming near the end of the season. We are a couple of weeks away from the NFL draft. Pro days keep happening. Will Levi, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud have had theirs over the last couple weeks. We're just finally getting down to it. In the last episode, I did discuss the top 15 picks on who's going or who needs what. I will be doing my draft over the next couple of weeks, but again, it's kind of hard to predict what's going on. Trades, who's going to be drafted, all that. It's kind of an up and down situation, but definitely getting excited to the draft, as well as the NHL has got their playoffs almost wrapped up. Positions, the wild cards are still up in the air, so we're waiting for that to be finalized. That's going to come down to the wire. Is Pittsburgh going to make the playoffs? We'll see this weekend and early next week, but the playoffs are here, and definitely exciting to see that. Major League Baseball is already underway as well. I didn't get to discuss it much the last episode when I came back, but opening weekend has come and gone. What to say really is that baseball has done a good job trying to get the games moving. And the pitch clock, the batter's box clock has been working out. We've seen violations happening. Oshie Ohtani became the first player this season as a pitcher and as a batter to receive the violation on the mound, and as a batter, so getting a strike, and as well as we've seen Rafael Devers on opening day get that as well. So MLB is doing a good job getting everything going, and it's incredible what they've done. It is, and they're doing a good job. Average time, I think, was 2 hours, 45 minutes. A couple of games have gone over 3 hours, but that's depending on what the score is and how the home runs have been going. But we're seeing an improvement. We're seeing what they're doing to try and improve the game. So definitely in the right step going forward. So it's only April right now. When it comes to baseball, it is only a marathon. So I'm not going to get into any records at the moment, division leads, what's going to be happening now. Is this team going to make the playoffs again? And I've discussed this on other episodes before. When you look at baseball, yes, April, May, June are important, but the seriousness all starts kicking in at the midway point after the All-Star game. That's when you're going to see contenders versus pretenders start to separate and get to see what the field's going to be like for October. and that's when the race starts. So am I going to go through the divisions and be like, well, it doesn't look good for the Blue Jays. It's not looking good for Seattle. Like, do you want me to go based on what's going on in April? We've seen teams have losing records in April and go on to win the World Series. That's what we've seen in baseball. So let's take a step back, relax, and then when we get to that midway point of July, after that All-Star break, then I'll break everything down. Then I'll start looking at how the field has already settled. It's a 162-game season. We have plenty of time to see this. So once, so far it's been great. Like I stated, the clock violations have been working out well to help get the pace of the game going. Pitchers are not taking forever on the mound, less mound visits. We're seeing everything move accordingly to what the plan has been for MLB. I wish the Red Sox were a little bit better, but I wasn't really sold on the expectations of this baseball team. But again, it's good to have baseball back. It's exciting that the NHL is almost at the playoff spot. Same with the NBA. English Premier League, La Liga happened over the weekend as well. Man U, I watched the game today. They played Brentford, winning 1-0. But again, losing to Newcastle on Sunday 2-0 did not help. And then Newcastle just blowing out West Ham today in their matchup. So we still have plenty of games to go for English Premier League, which I'm excited to see. And actually, Real Madrid just beat Barcelona today as well. So definitely some exciting news there. But again, we still have plenty of soccer left for this. There's about over 10 games left, depending on your team. So we're almost done regular soccer, Premier League, and sorry, we're not almost done soccer. There's still there's still Europa and Champions League going on. That's going on next week, which it's going to be exciting. FA Cup, we're getting close to that as well. That's happening the following week as well. So we're seeing the other tournaments going on as well within the league too. So again, we're months away from Champions League finishing. Same with Europa. We're also still, again, at least a month or so away to determining who becomes the winner of EPL and La Liga. So we will take our time with that. And also, again, with the playoffs starting for the NBA and the NHL over the next week and a half, lots to talk about. I will be doing my brackets to discuss who's going where. Who's going where, who's going to win each matchup and then lead to a winner. But I think everyone's keeping their eye on the Leafs. They are. I feel like I'm a little all over the place at the start of this episode, which I'm okay with. I am. There's been a lot of stuff happening over the last couple of days. And again, the NCAA tournament also finished this weekend. Don't forget to check out the segment that I discussed with in regards to Angel Reese and the women's NCAA tournament. I mentioned the men's tournament as well. Just everything that happened that Sunday. What happened in those moments is overshadowing what was accomplished over for the women's tournament, which was remarkable. I mentioned Caitlin Clark's record as well as Reese's record. Those that were set, the viewership record for the women's final that was set. So that's where it was, that's what sucks about when you have a certain thing going on in the game and everyone else is, focused on that instead of the broad part of what was accomplished for the women's tournament. That's what a little upset me, because again, what happened in that game did not affect me or offend me at all. But again, you can check out that segment. I posted it on Apple as well as Spotify. You can check it out on YouTube as well as Instagram and TikTok. But again, it's everything that happened that was successful for that women's tournament has been kind of ignored as everyone has focused on what had happened in that championship game. And also the one thing that was a little shock to me as well, the men's final was down in viewership. just over 14 million, which is a little low from what I've been hearing. So it could be who is competing with it, as well as just, some people may just not have watched it. But what I'm looking at here is it could have been the matchup. Some people, when you're watching your brackets, depending on who it is and who you were going for, maybe they just didn't decide to watch it. I did. Again, congratulations to UConn on winning. And it's okay that UConn won. They won in 2014. Again, like the story of San Diego State, they had a great run. They did. They played very good. They were a team that you slept on. It's the truth. Like the men's tournament was wild to begin with when you looked at the upsets, especially starting again. And I mentioned earlier, Princeton versus Arizona. Like Princeton winning. Princeton was ranked 15th. I was telling some friends too, like the Ivory League is a league that you shouldn't sleep on when it comes to the tournament. Like Princeton, Harvard, we even, I believe Providence is part of that same division. But like they're teams that have won and come in and won a couple rounds out of that division, which is just remarkable. Great programs like overall in the Ivory League. But yeah, everyone sleeps on those basketball teams out of that conference, which is a little bit of a shocker. But overall, I was happy with the tournament. Like again, my March Madness wasn't successful. I chose UCLA to win. I believe they went out in the Sweet 16. They fell to, I believe it was, they fell to Creighton, I believe. That was a little tough loss there, but only lost by, I think it was 3 points. But again, it's tough. It is. It's never right. It's nobody gets a perfect bracket. You can get the winner, but nobody gets the perfect bracket. I was just happy that after a week, like 4 out of 4 in my Final Four was still there. I think we were all excited about that, but everything changed in the Sweet 16. Everything went downhill, but a few of my friends lost out on that first round. So, but overall, again, great men's tournament, great women's tournament. Yeah, I can still say a great men's tournament despite the viewership of what they had for the finals. But again, it was a remarkable weekend for the men's tournament. With having those tournament finals going on, plus opening weekend for baseball, you kind of forget that there's a PGA event going on too, and Canadian Corey Connors winning the Texas Open over the weekend, so kind of had that overshadowed. There's a live golf event as well happening over the weekend. Koepka, I believe, came away with that. And I know I've had my discussion with Liv, and we talked about it last year in a couple episodes. Okay, not a couple episodes, like a good majority of the episodes I brought up Liv, because I always wanted to dissect the events. Obviously, the season's different. They got TV deals, so I believe it's Game TV and the CW. You can watch live events. They're being hosted on that. Like, when you watch these live, events, there's not many people there. Day 1, day 2, I don't see many people around the greens. Even, day 3, I'm not seeing much attendance at these events. So, I know it's still in its infant stage, so we will see how it goes. Especially with this week, it's PGA versus Live this week. It's the first major of the year for golf. You have the Masters this week. I did my pool. I went with Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Max Homa, and also Corey Connors today. So we'll see how that goes. Top 3 need to make into the weekend for my team to have a chance. So we'll see how rounds 1 and 2 go. Round 1 goes tomorrow. But definitely looking forward to it. And again, this what the media is going to be doing is going to be Live versus PGA, which I know we saw this past year what's been going on, but it's just been such an up and down year for Live. So we'll see how everything plays out. I know the golfers are playing 3 events, or sorry, not 3 events, 3 rounds. So let's hope that they're prepared for 4 rounds. There's the practice rounds. You get the par 3 going today. So we'll see how everything goes tomorrow. It is. Like round one, like the leaderboard you can win the tournament on round one. I'm not saying like it's going to happen, but we've seen someone set a score when they've gone on to win a tournament off of round one. But I'm not saying that's going to happen for the Masters. We know how well they get Augusta set up. And also, like, as much as it's LIV versus PGA, it's how's Tiger going to do this weekend? Is he going to be able to play the 4 rounds while walking? Has his leg gotten stronger since playing last year? He knows this course like the back of his hand, so we're going to see how well this plays out. But again, it's something to keep an eye on. And again, like, we'll see how Rory does. Can he complete the career Grand Slam? What's Brooks going to be like? What's Bryson going to be like? How's DJ going to play? How's like Scotty? Like we're seeing this here in the eyes. It's the first major of the year, and everyone's excited for it. I'm a little excited for it. I'm just like going into this, the talk of LIV versus PGA. That's the only thing that's been kind of getting me down because I'm getting sick of it. I am. There's going to be a LIV versus PGA event happening later on this year, which is going to be exciting to see. I know that's going to be hyped up. But right now, just the story is, well, if one LIV player wins, everyone that participates in LIV is going to be on that green celebrating with him. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, because if some of them don't make it, I'm pretty sure they're leaving Augusta to go home. Like, why stick around for 2 days? They're like, I don't know. It's really hard to take this that seriously, but just keep talking about the PGA and LIV. They're completely different styles of golf. We know that. Harold Varner III came out and definitely gave his comments about LIV today, and he is actually on the LIV tour, which is incredible to see him make his comments. And I believe it was, they're not here to change the game of golf. They're just here to collect, just to paraphrase what Varner said, which, it's everyone knew kind of that's what was going on. Like I said, I've never hated on LIV. I like what they've done with the team event. But again, if you're going to do a team event, make it important. Make it effective. So just like we want to see them like more match play events. Like utilize the team events. That's the important thing here. Total score, great. You shot minus 17. How about you win like the tournament in your team? You chose a team for a reason. Some of these guys are shooting +3, and your team's got 2 superstars that can go 10 under for the weekend. So not for the weekend, for the event. So it has its ups and downs. But again, like I said, the PGA versus LIV has kind of been the focal point this week in regards to the Masters. Nick Faldo is back broadcasting the Masters, which is incredible to see. Jim Nantz, I believe this will be his final Masters calling it. He just did his final four for college basketball. So seeing the pair this weekend together, which will be great. I know Faldo was kind of retired already from broadcasting, but came back to do it. And I think it's just because having him and Jim Nantz together in the booth one last time covering the Masters is incredible. That's what's great to hear. And everyone wants to hear Jim Nantz say, "Hello, friends. Welcome to the 2023 Masters." That's what we're looking for. We want to hear him say, "Hello, friends." That's what the focus is here. Everyone's looking for it. Everyone's also looking at the honorary starts tomorrow as well. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be great this weekend, a lot of memorable stuff too. So again, I hope that the focus isn't on LIV versus PGA. Like we want this to be a great tournament. It's the Masters. We all look forward to this. It's also on a long weekend here in Canada, which is even better. It's just like depending on where you are, it's a long weekend. It is. So Masters long weekend, it works out well for everyone. So, but again, I'm looking forward to it. Again, my team, Scheffler, McIlroy, Homa, and Corey Connors for the Masters. I hope all four make it this weekend. I hope that it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. I do not care who the winner is. Well, actually, I do for Max Homa, because in another league that I'm part of, he's part of that team. So I'm kind of hoping for a Max Homa win. I do. I really do want that. Moving away from golf and the Masters. So we had the Australian Grand Prix going on last Sunday, and I went to bed recording it because I was going to watch it in the morning and see how it goes. But I ended up waking up like 30 minutes after the race had started, look at my phone, and I see, boom, one incident goes, Leclerc is out. Then I'm seeing George Russell later on going. And then we have an accident later on at, I believe it was like lap 55. I believe it was Bottas. Boom, his right rear wheel went off. And then so they get everything reset again. Boom, go off. Another accident. We saw Stroll, Canadian Stroll, him and his partner, boom, both cars out. A couple other cars as well. So then they have to reset again, wait for everything to be cleared again. And then they just finished the race with Verstappen winning another one this year. Perez with the fastest lap. But again, like overall, it was scary a little bit just to see how that all progressed at the end. Going from one little simple car off the wall where his wheel went off, just driving on three wheels and the rim. And then you go off and you see, boom, that massive accident just right out. Basically, I believe it was turn 1 or turn 2 where basically everything just went. So that was scary. And then having them go and reset, that was, it was scary. It was. But again, overall, the race was great. Just Verstappen was just in control. Nice driving by Hamilton. Carlos Sainz did face a penalty earlier on. So not earlier on, later on in the race, he was assessed a 5-second penalty. But again, Red Bull is just off to a great start. If you look at the last couple of races, Verstappen's got 2, Perez has got 1. And Verstappen finished second, I believe, behind Perez as well. So we're seeing here the dominance of what Red Bull is doing. We're going to see them probably be successful again. So right now, it's just a matter of who can keep up with them. Again, Lewis Hamilton looked great in the last race, so we will see if he's getting everything right with that car with Mercedes. Hopefully George Russell is okay as well for the next race. But again, it looks like things are starting to work out. And again, we're wondering what's going on with Ferrari. It has not been a good start to this season for Ferrari. They're definitely carrying over what happened in the previous season. So we'll see if they get that all going as well. But right now, Red Bull is the powerhouse. It looks like they're unstoppable. And again, let's see how it goes with Mercedes. Let's see if, Lewis can get on the top of the podium. He's been on the podium already this season, but let's see if he can finish first on the podium. Finished second at the Australian, which was good. Had an incredible race. But again, it was a scary event seeing those accidents and just the delay. I mean, you can see some of the frustration as well with those drivers. But you know what? It is part of the sport. Accidents do happen, but we'll see how it all goes. We do. It's a long season. It's going to be a long season. So overall, it was a great race. Looking forward to the next one. We'll see how it all plays out. The only thing that sucked was it was at 3 o'clock in the morning Canada time. So just sitting up there watching the race, didn't fall asleep until about 3:34 because I was just dulled into it. And I wasn't the only one up watching the race. I know others were as well, but again, it was a good race. It was definitely crazy at the end. When you looked at it all, it was a crazy ending to that type of race. It was. So that's it for today's episode of the podcast. Again, please remember to check out TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, as well as the YouTube channel, Draining Jimmy Sports Podcast. Just look at some of the videos I've posted. I did discuss what happened with LSU and Iowa between Reese and Clark. I did give my couple minutes about that. And then also, we're a couple weeks away from the NFL draft. We're not too far away from that, so I will be doing my mock draft. I'm targeting the end of next week to finally release that. I may just do a focus special just on the draft, and then I'll just do a regular episode just catching up from other worlds of sports, catching up on more baseball, the finalization of the NBA and the NHL playoffs, which will be important, looking at Champions League and Europa, catching up on those matchups for next week, as well as looking at Liga and EPL from the weekend because we have matches going this weekend too. Catching up from the Masters. Who's winning? Will it be one of the guys from my pool that I'm participating in? So we'll see how that goes. But again, it's a crazy weekend. It's a long weekend. We had a crazy last weekend with Major League Baseball opening the NCAA tournament, finishing the Australian Open as well. Again, congratulations to UConn and LSU for both winning. Adama Sanogo was the most outstanding player for the men's tournament. Angel Reese was the most outstanding player for the women's tournament as well. Corey Connors getting the victory as well over the weekend for the PGA, which is great. Let's see how well he does at the Masters. It's this type of course that he does play well. We'll see how Tiger does. But again, it's going to be another good weekend. It's a long weekend. Baseball, hockey, soccer, basketball, the Masters. It's the Masters. So here we are. But again, don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube. Follow me at TikTok at drainingjimmys.podcast. Same on Instagram, drainingjimmys.podcast. Twitter at drainingjimmys. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your long weekend. Thank you. And this is the Draining Jimmys podcast.